$400. That's what a Colt Python sold for back in 1990. That same revolver, same condition, crossed the auction block last month for over $11,000. The man who let his go in the 90s lost more than most Americans earn in a year on what suffer, and he never saw it coming. Right now, all across the country, wheel guns are quietly slipping out of safes and estate sales for pocket change, while the right ones are climbing faster than gold, silver, and the stock market combined. Their owners have no idea what they're holding. So before someone in your family makes that same mistake, hit subscribe, because today we're counting down 10 revolvers you should never ever sell. Number 10, Colt Anaconda. We start with the snake nobody respected, which is exactly why it belongs here. When Colt launched the Anaconda in 1990, it was the big brawny cousin of the legendary Python, a massive stainless .44 Magnum built for big game and hand cannon lovers. For years, collectors shrugged at it. It wasn't a Python, they said. Too new, too common, too plain. They were dead wrong, and the market has spent the last few years proving it. Here's what flipped. Colt quietly killed the original Anaconda in the early 2000s, and just like that, the supply froze. No more were ever coming. Then the smart money spotted the same pattern that sent Python prices into orbit. A discontinued Colt snake gun with a cult following and nowhere to go but up. The result? Original Anacondas have doubled in value in just 5 years. A clean original today runs $1,800 to $3,000, and pristine examples with the original numbered box sale pass that at auction. Here's your tell. Colt brought the Anaconda back in 2021, so read the markings in the serial. The originals from the 90s and early 2000s are the ones riding the curve. The reissue is a different animal entirely. If you've got a real one, don't let it slither away for pocket change. Number 9, Ruger Security 6. Picture a gun so unwanted that police departments practically gave it away by the crate. That was the Ruger Security 6 in the 1990s. As America's cops traded their revolvers for high-capacity plastic pistols, these honest steel wheel guns piled up on pawnshop shelves for $150, and buyers still walked past them. Obsolete, everyone agreed. Yesterday's gun. Everyone agreed wrong. The Security 6 has quietly posted one of the steepest climbs of any revolver on this entire list, appreciating somewhere near 485%. That's not a typo. The gun nobody wanted has outrun investments people brag about at dinner parties, and the folks who dumped theirs for beer money are the ones who'll never live it down. So why the turnaround? Ruger built these like small anvils, a beefy, over-engineered .357 made to eat Magnum loads forever, and they made them from 1972 to 1988 before retiring the line for the GP 100. That fixed the supply for good. A clean one today brings $500 to $900, with early examples and original boxes pulling the top end. The lesson hiding inside this one is bigger than the gun itself. The revolver the entire market writes off is exactly the one quietly minting money. Don't be the next person to let it go cheap. Number 8, Colt Diamondback. Imagine owning a Python that most collectors completely overlooked and getting it for a fraction of the price. That's the Colt Diamondback. Built from 1966 to 1986, it was the Python's smaller sibling, chambered mostly in humble .22 and .38. And for decades, that little caliber is exactly what made people dismiss it. They chased the big snake and walked right past its little brother. The smart collectors didn't. Here's the secret hiding in plain sight. The Diamondback wasn't a budget gun wearing a Colt badge. It got the full Python treatment. The same deep royal blue finish, the same hand-tuned action, the same vented rib milled right into the barrel, just shrunk down. It's a Python in miniature built by the same craftsman to the same standard, and Colt only made around 60,000 of the .22 versions across the entire run. For years, you could grab a clean one for a few $100s. Not anymore. Mint Diamondbacks with their original box now bring $2,500 to $4,000 at auction, and the climb hasn't slowed. Your tell is that vented rib and royal blue shine on a small frame Colt. If your father or grandfather left behind a dainty little .22 that looks suspiciously like a baby python, you're looking at one. Don't sell it short. Number 7, Smith & Wesson Model 19 Combat Magnum. This one was born from a single phone call. In 1955, a legendary border patrolman named Bill Jordan walked into Smith & Wesson with a simple demand: build me a .357 Magnum an agent can carry all day without it dragging his belt to his knees. Smith & Wesson listened. They put Magnum Power on their medium K frame, and the Combat Magnum was born. The FBI grabbed it. Police departments coast to coast grabbed it. For 2 solid decades, this was the gun riding on the hip of American law enforcement. But not every Model 19 is worth the same money, and the difference is a detail most owners never bother to check. The revolvers built before 1982 have 2 features Smith & Wesson later quietly deleted to cut costs: a barrel pinned to the frame and chambers that cradle each cartridge in a recessed cylinder face. Collectors call them them pinned and recessed, and those are the ones the market is chasing hard. A 4-inch pre-lock Model 19 ran $250 in 1990. Today, a clean pinned and recessed example brings $1,200 to $2,200. Here's how you check yours. Look for the tiny pin through the barrel where it meets the frame, then open the cylinder. If the cartridge head sits sunken rather than flush, you've got the pre-1982 gun. Pinned and recessed means money. If Grandpa carried a badge, look hard before you ever let it go. Number 6. Dan Wesson Model 15. Here's a revolver that did something no Colt or Smith & Wesson on this list can do. It let you change its barrel in under a minute. The Dan Wesson Model 15 was the oddball genius of the bunch, and the name isn't a coincidence. The company was founded in 1968 by Dan Wesson himself, great-grandson of the man who co-founded Smith & Wesson. He set out to build a better wheel gun than the family firm, and in one specific way, he did. The trick was the interchangeable barrel. Loosen a nut with a special wrench, swap the barrel, and one revolver became 3. A 2-inch for carry, a 6-inch for hunting, an 8-inch for competition. Silhouette champions in the 70s and 80s chose it over Colt and Smith for one reason. That crush-fit barrel system was tighter and more accurate than anything else on the firing line. These were built in Monson, Massachusetts, and when that original factory shut down, the supply locked shut with it. The numbers tell the story. Complete pistol pack sets have climbed around 425%. A full original kit with every barrel, the tools, and the factory case now brings $1,200 to $2,500. Your tell is the address. If the barrel shroud reads Monson, you've got the real, irreplaceable article. The Forgotten Genius is exactly the kind of gun that quietly makes money. Don't let yours walk. Number 5. Smith & Wesson Triple Lock. Now we reach the gun that one of the greatest firearms minds who ever lived called the finest revolver ever made. That was Elmer Keith's verdict on the Smith & Wesson Triple Lock, and the man handled everything. Officially, it was the .44 hand ejector first model, born in 1908 as Smith & Wesson's first modern swing-out revolver, and they built it to a standard the company would never quite reach again. The name comes from its secret. Where every other revolver locked the cylinder in 2 places, the triple lock added a 3rd, an extra lug hidden at the crane that married the cylinder to the frame with almost obsessive precision. It was expensive, it was intricate, and it was glorious. Then the British Army, buying them for the trenches, complained the fine mechanism trapped mud. Smith & Wesson caved, dropped the 3rd lock in 1915, and never brought it back. Only about 15,400 first models were ever built. That's the whole story of its value. A feature too good to survive. Gone in 7 years. Honest examples run $1,300 to $2,700, and clean ones climb to $5,000 and beyond. Your tell sits under the barrel. That extra shrouded lug at the crane is the 3rd lock. Find it, and you're holding the one they couldn't afford to keep building. Number 4. Smith & Wesson Model 29. I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? You've heard those words even if you've never seen the movie. And the gun Clint Eastwood leveled at the camera in 1971 is the one sitting at number 4. Dirty Harry made the Smith & Wesson Model 29 the most famous revolver on the planet overnight. Before the film, it was a specialist's hand cannon. After it, every man in America wanted one. What happened next is collector legend. Demand detonated. Smith & Wesson couldn't build them fast enough, and dealers started taking deposits on guns that wouldn't ship for over a year. Men paid double, triple sticker price just to walk out with the .44 Magnum Harry carried, the most powerful production handgun in the world at the time. That frenzy faded, but it planted the Model 29 in the American imagination permanently. Here's where the real money hides today, and it's a detail almost nobody checks. 2 of them, actually. The pre-1982 guns wear a pinned barrel and a recessed cylinder. The old hand-built features Smith & Wesson later deleted. And the earliest 4-screw frames made before 1961 command the steepest premium of all. A pre-lock Model 29 in clean shape brings $1,400 to $2,500, and those early 4-screw guns climb past that fast. The 8 3/8 inch barrel, the true Dirty Harry length, sits at the very top. Look for the pin, the recess, and the screw count. The gun every boy wanted in 1971 is quietly minting money now. Number 3. Colts Single Action Army, first generation. Some guns are famous. This one is foundational. The Colt Single Action Army the Solze, the Peacemaker, is arguably the most important handgun in American history. The 6-shooter that rode on the hip of every lawman, outlaw, and cavalry trooper who shaped the frontier. Colt introduced it in 1873, and here's the wild part. They still make it today, basically unchanged. But the guns that mint fortunes are the first-generation ones, built before 1941. This is where it stops being a gun and starts being a piece of the nation. A first-gen Peacemaker isn't valued like a revolver, it's valued like an artifact. and tiny details swing the price by tens of thousands. The earliest black powder frame guns made before roughly 1898 are a tier of their own. Documented military examples with cavalry or artillery markings climb higher still. And the holy of holies, the inspector-stamped guns with an OWA or Nettleton cartouche pressed into the grip, some possibly present at the Little Bighorn, sit at the absolute summit. The spread tells the whole story. A standard first-gen runs $3,500 to $15,000. Military-marked examples jump to $8,000 to $35,000, and a low serial number under 100? $50,000 to $150,000. Your tell is the serial and the markings on the frame and grip. If Grandpa's old single action predates 1941, do not let it leave the family before an expert sees it. Number 2, Smith & Wesson Registered Magnum. Number 2 isn't just a revolver, it's the gun that invented an entire cartridge. And the collecting world calls it a holy grail without a hint of exaggeration. In 1935, criminals were out shooting the police, and Smith & Wesson answered with something nobody had built before: the first .357 Magnum, the most powerful revolver on Earth at the time. They named it the Registered Magnum, and the way they sold it has never been repeated. You didn't just buy one, you ordered it. Every single registered Magnum was hand-built to the buyer's exact wishes. Your barrel length down to the quarter inch, your sights, your grips, your finish. 23 barrel options in all. Then Smith & Wesson stamped it with a unique registration number and mailed the owner a signed certificate, like a title to a piece of art. They made roughly 5,500 across 4 years, then the war came and they killed the program forever. Read the buyer list and you read American history. J. Edgar Hoover owned number 1. General Patton owned one and called it his killing gun. Clark Gable, Gary Cooper, Elmer Keith, all of them. Honest examples bring $3,500 to $8,500. Boxed and lettered guns climb past $13,000. And the finest with provenance push toward $20,000. The tell is on the yoke. Open the cylinder and look for a number stamped REG. Those 3 letters separate a few thousand from a small fortune. Number 1, Colt Python. And so we arrive at the king, and there was never any real contest. They call it the Rolls-Royce of revolvers, and for once the nickname undersells the gun. When Colt set out in 1955 to build the finest double-action revolver on Earth, they didn't cut a single corner. Every Python was hand-built by one craftsman who fitted the action by feel, hand-lapped the barrel to a mirror, and tuned the cylinder timing to the exact instant of lockup. The result was a trigger pull that revolvers costing twice as much still can't touch, wrapped in that bottomless royal blue finish so deep it looks black until the light hits it. For 30 years, it was the most expensive production revolver in America. The gun cops saved a month's pay for and doctors bought to show they'd made it. Then in 1999, Colt pulled the plug. Hand-fitting had become too expensive, the old craftsmen were retiring, and the tooling was quietly shelved. When Colt brought the name back in 2020, collectors confirmed what everyone feared. The new one, good as it is, simply isn't the same animal. That sealed the original's fate as appreciating assets forever. Now the numbers. A standard first-generation Royal Blue Python runs $2,000 to $5,000 and climbs every year. But the early guns rewrite the math. A 1955 first-year Python, one of just 299 ever made, averages close to $30,000 at auction, and a 2-digit serial recently brought $34,500. Elvis Presley's Python? $172,500. Here's your tell. The original has the rampant Colt stamped on the side plate, Python engraved on the rib, and a serial number with no letter prefix marks the most coveted pre-1969 guns. The action will feel like a glass rod breaking. If you've inherited one of these, understand exactly what's in your hands, and never, ever let it go. So guys, that's the list. 10 revolvers quietly turning into fortunes, while their owners have no clue what they're sitting on. Here's the truth running through every one of them. The wheel gun the market wrote off is the one minting money. The cop trade-in nobody wanted. The baby Python everyone walked past. The dusty single action in Grandpa's drawer. Finite supply, rising demand, and a clock that never stops. So do 3 quick things before you go. Hit that like button. It pushes this warning to more people who need it. Subscribe and ring the bell, because next week I'm breaking down the rare handguns climbing even faster than these. And drop a comment. Which of these 10 is sitting in your safe right now? And which one would you never sell at any price? I read every single one. One last rule. Before you sell any old revolver, get it appraised by someone who actually knows. Hold on to your history. And never sell what's still climbing.